Now the presentations are over. We are continuing with questions and answers.
Sorularını yöneltebilirler. Önce birinci sorum yine sırayla gitmek istiyorum.
First of all, I would like to go in an order. We have got very limited time. I'm going to ask it as fast as possible. And I'm going to ask our speakers to have a rapid response. My first question will be going to Dilek Gürsoy. In your presentation, you have mentioned about the online graphic course. And when you compare it with offline times, what is the difference between the success level and also the outcomes of the level, different offline and online courses? Well, successfulness rates are changing according to different conditions. How we are going to describe the successfulness? Are the first grade students for the very first time they are coming across with a design? Yes, in the first 6 weeks we were all together. We have done it on an offline environment, and I have seen that they were rapidly adapting to the design tools. But face-to-face times, we have done very basic things. But afterwards, when we have been moved to the online platforms, we have tried to create scenarios, scripts, and under some certain frameworks and some certain stories, we have started to work with them, and the language has changed. The language of the lesson has changed, and the outcomes may not be compared and contrasted because the environments have changed a lot. I cannot say that in the beginning when it was offline they were more successful, or in the online they were more successful. It's not something that can be compared. And this may be my rapid response. But I was very happy throughout this period. They were so much involved in the updated agenda. They were doing something that they were willing to do. So they were very successful. They were very successful in doing something with a more speedy manner and more colorful and more dynamic. Works have appeared. And so if we are comparing the visual aspect, the first 6 months was a little bit actually dead, but the online platform time can be named as something very lively. Yes, this can be the assessment. Mahir Namur and Melih Görgün, I have a question for you. I don't know whether you are still with us or not. I cannot see them. I think they are not with us. So let me go to my third question. Ankita and Delvin, I will ask you. When I have read your paper, the responses of the students to the survey, which you have carried out, have pointed out the fact that the online platforms do bring some advantage. And for an introverted student, it seems that an online platform is more suitable. This was something which I have seen, I have observed. In the following years, in your face-to-face education models, do you plan to integrate the online teaching platforms? Or do you plan to have a hybrid structures? What type of activities and what type of training modules will be online? Introvert and art therapy, will you continue to use Inktober or art therapy methodology on your offline courses also?
Yeah, thank you for the question. I would like to address it. So regarding the introvert student, again, that was one particular student who gave that response. So we cannot really say that, you know, all introverts again would prefer the online. It becomes very, like Derek also mentioned, it's very thin line to say what is better. But to add to the point, that we think that, you know, both methods online also has certain advantages, as well as offline has certain advantages. And the feedback that we gathered from the students, I mean, they clearly state that their peer learning was better in the offline, because they could, in design particularly, you're allowed to peep into your classmates' notebooks or their sketches. So that was something that needed a little extra effort. It's not like it's not possible in the online manner, but it needs a little extra effort. Regarding integrating some of the activities from the online mode, the whole idea of integrating social media into the online mode came in because of the platform of online. And similar with the pandemic and the stresses of the pandemic, hence we conceived art therapy. But definitely, as Ankita also mentioned in the presentation, if we look beyond the pandemic, because there are a lot of stresses that students will naturally face, maybe not directly related to the pandemic, maybe work pressure, studying pressure, or many other things. So definitely, this is something we are ready to try. And just if I could just add one more point. So regarding the live sketching, so when this was done in the offline classes, every student was posing. And that definitely has its own strengths. But what we did in the online module is we kept showing a variety of illustrations. So we could actually do caricatures, we could actually show cartoony illustrations to show very realistic. So we brought in those aspects to live sketching. So definitely I would feel a nice mix would be very useful.
Yes, and just to add to Delvin's point, I would like to add, like, we could, in the live sketching, in the quick sketching sessions, we could, showcase pictures of, animals and other aspects where many people are there. So there were multitude of, variety in our live sketching session. While in an offline mode, bringing in an animal or a dog is quite difficult. So that actually proved, one of the beneficial, ways to, tell the students that it could be, beneficial way to draw and sketch. And however, Inktober has also proved to be one of the, good practice-based session on a daily basis. They could do it and also connect to a variety of audience, not just limited to their classrooms and not just limited to that, very small group. So they could go to the outer, world, and they could connect to various illustrators. Everyone will come and connect, comment at their work. So not limited to just to the faculty's comments or to their friends' comments. So that was quite, interesting. And we also recommend that other than Inktober, we have plenty of other aspects, in the social media. Various other trends are also there that can be very beneficial during an online mode, which we could use very effectively. And that would also, encourage these young minds, those young students. Yeah, thank you.
Salih hocam mikrofonunuz kapalı.
Özür dilerim. Son sorum.
Last question will be going to Nihal and Betül Hanım. I have read your paper. I thought that the communication with the peers is very important. There was an emphasis, as far as I could notice. In your presentation, you have also emphasized the same point. Why peer communication is important? And among the studies of the students, what type of an impact does that peer communication have? Let me respond it, and maybe Nihal Hanım may add some further things. As you all know it very well, Design Studio is not only an environment that the student is taking feedbacks from the tutors, actually feedbacks. At the same time, he is or she's getting the commands of the peers and also contributing to the studies of the peers and developing themselves. It's a multilateral learning environment. And the basic Design Studio course is also finding a great contribution of the peers and for something integrated inside the learning ecosystem of the course. But since that they have not any opportunity to become closer with each other, they could not create trust in between themselves, and they have not become acquainted with each other on an online environment. But in the studio environment, of course, some coincidental interactions have been missed, and these coincidental comments are coming. For example, when they turn to their friend, what do you think about my sketch? Oh, are you cutting that paper like that? Let me cut it in the same way with you. Would be an interaction, but an online environment, we have lost that. Nihal Hanım, would you like to add anything? Yes. Additional to that, it is possible to state, as I mentioned in my presentation, design studios, facilitation approach and philosophy is not a matter of teaching something to the student. It is not a matter of showing how you are teaching something to the student. I do not use the word teach, and most of the time I'm not using the word of teach. And I say that I do not teach, actually. I am guiding the student, I'm leading the student and allowing the student to enter a space, a world, a universe. I am there, we're all there, and we are guiding and leading. If misleaded, we are re-leading the student, and student is alone. Actually, mentor is coming and placing the problem and leaving away, and the student is all alone with the problem. And of course, the students with the peers, as Betül have just mentioned, learning from each other issue is very important, is very valuable and very effective. How or what to do is so much related with interaction. I would like to thank our participants. I would like to thank our speakers. And we are a little bit beyond our time. But in the very end, I hope that this was a very good session for all. We have completed the fourth session. Thank you very much, everyone, for participating in our session. Have a good day.